Allt verkade gränslöst och saknade värde. Inget var värt något. Landskapet var inte värt något. Solnedgången var inte värd något. Din omfamning, då när du fortfarande menar något med den och jag fortfarande kunde känna den, var inte värd något. Ögonblicket du såg mig i ögonen strax innan din orgasm, när vi hade sex.
The narration right from the beginning was so deeply emotionally striking. It set the mood and the tone of this piece with this sense of worthlessness, this sinking depression where nothing brings joy. There's no desire to connect with the world around oneself. And this translated really well into the color scheme, the general gray and whitewashed bleakness, and those intersecting squares to delineate the sections because they felt cold and static and not human, just like items, objects placed in space, um, with a reduction of humanity. And then the sequence of connection, of the desire to be deeply entwined, where it seemed to matter, was brilliantly choreographed. The dancers looking alike also made for some interesting dissonance of almost like fighting for one's own life. At least that's what I got. And yeah, fighting for one's own sanity and joy. Great intersection of support and collective empathy, I felt, which was really powerfully choreographed and brilliantly executed by the dancers.
When you feel this sense of darkness, these thoughts of unworthiness, you kind of blend into this world of black and white, a sort of void, so very much so that they take away the humanity here and they replace them with geometric squares at times. It's sterile, it's a gray space, it's neutral. There's a sense of numbness that derives from it, even. It seems as if in this world there isn't much to differentiate between them. It's an intention the costume designer makes here to dress them one of the same almost. I like that we get space in both the feminine and the masculine aspects here. The contemporary choreography and cinematography flows smoothly despite the sadness being showcased here.
Excellent dance piece for athletic dancers who were absolutely excellent in their execution. Their piece was interspersed with bits of voiceovers about identity, gender, saying things like, "Must I justify that I was born?" That was really intriguing. The women's duet seemed to be a struggle with boundaries. It was really uncomfortable, the proximity of one of the women being right in the other's face all the time. The men's duet felt like a power struggle or positions of power. Push-ups are done by one, and then the other just gets up and stands on the other, which has a beautiful pullback with the camera. And I must say, this is one of the great things about dance on film, is that you can't get that same moment from live stage.
The fluidity of the movement that you showed with these dancers, it's like true contemporary. It was, and with that comes like this open narration through dance and how a lot can be applied to it. But there's a lot that you do here with space and boundaries and power and movement and boundaries and movement with both the male and female pieces. And I think it's really interesting to watch and see how that plays out and how you use space directly with both of these, but in very different ways. I think the fluidity of movement juxtaposed to a lot of these like powerful, strong movements, for lack of a better term, I think they juxtapose each other really, really well in both pieces independently, but also looking at the male and female pieces in contrast to each other. I think it was shot really, really well. I think the dancers were phenomenal. And I think the choreography was very clever and really interesting to watch. So
I really love the way the main characters dance and the coordination that they have between each other. I think it was really powerful. Certainly the music as well was very well executed from the very beginning until the end. You have this sense of attachment to the story, you know, because you don't really know where the story is gonna end. And I think that's the powerful part about the movie, that keeps getting surprising, even though it's a short film and it lasts just a few minutes. You really feel it like if it is like a feature film in the end. And I think we really loved the way and the whole film is shot, the direction and the cinematography, along with the choice of color palette used. I think it was very, very powerful.
I love their opening scene. It's nostalgic, sad, cryptic, a bit sensual. The Swedish words and then some in English, it just paired very well as a complement to the choreography, which is perfect. That perfectly also showcases the dancer's talent, outstanding edition and cinematography. They give us this spectrum of emotions and reactions. Their movements are so pure, they feel so natural and so part of a conversation.